All right, today what we're looking at for the first prerequisite skill for this unit is how to evaluate square roots. Again, this is a review of items that you probably should already know. First of all, square roots. The square of a number is the number multiplied by itself. Okay, so we take the number and we multiply by itself. So for instance, if I have the number 3 and I square it, what that means is I'm taking the number 3, I'm multiplying it by itself to come up with the answer, obviously, of 9. But that's what a square means, a number, in this case 3, multiplied by itself. On the other hand, if we look at finding the square root, finding the square root is the inverse. It's the inverse operation of squaring. Okay, so it's doing the opposite of what we were doing before. So in this case, it would be if I took the square root of, for instance, 9, I know that equals 3. And why does that equal 3? It equals 3 because the square root of 9 equals the square root of 3 times 3. Okay, so you can see how they're related to each other in that respect. Okay, so what kind of examples are you going to be expected to do? Okay, first set, evaluate the following. And it says round to the nearest hundredth where necessary. So sometimes these are not going to be perfect square roots. So obviously the square root of 25 is 5. Now when I come to the square root of 112, obviously that's not a perfect square. So I would take out my calculator and I would actually find the square root of that. And when we do that, we end up with 10 decimal 583. Again, nothing really difficult with that. And again, if we go down further, now here we have a few different ones that maybe look a little bit different from the other two. And the first one is this one here. It says -2 and then it has a square root of 7. So really what that's saying is it's saying I have -2 and I'm multiplying it by the square root of 7. So again, what I do here is I take my calculator, calculate the square root of 7, which is going to be approximately 2.645575. Now notice I did not round it yet because I'm going to take this number and multiply it by the -2 to get -5.292. So usually when we're doing rounding to the nearest hundredth, I want to round right near the very end. Now this one here is a little bit different again too. I'm taking the square root of a fraction. So what I have to do with my calculator is I first of all have to calculate what 7 divided by 12 is. Okay, and for those of you that are really good with your calculator, you probably can get away with doing this type of question all in one step if you understand what your calculator is doing. Okay, and these are just repeated 3's. Now if I take the square root of that number, I end up with 2 the hundredth would be 0.764. Okay, so now you have a few questions also to do yourself, and make sure you watch the next video.